Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. My name's Jonathan. To my right, got two of our draft coordinators, two guys I respect in this fantasy game. Al, the Doc. What's up, guys?
How we doing?
What's going on,
Real
Commish?
good, excited. We're going to be tackling some of these outlook of these fantasy teams again. Before we do, just want to let you guys know we're posting fresh orphans daily. But let's jump into this. I'm going to let Al explain a little bit about this show.
Yeah, so as we've done before, just kind of breaking down, all the fantasy relevant positions of a given team. And today's show is no other than the defending Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They've been in the news a lot, bringing some of their core back. They've got just about everybody locked up for next year, except for Fournette, who's an impending free agent right now, who still could come back. But, Chris Godwin, franchise tagged. Mike Evans was under contract.
Right.
Antonio Brown's another one who could be back, could not. But then Gronk's coming back. O.J. Howard's getting healthy. The list goes on. Their offensive line, a lot of continuity there. So, Tom Brady, how we feeling? Can he go for 8 rings?
I think, yeah, he definitely can. He's got a very good opportunity to. You really saw the chemistry kind of work itself out towards the second half of the season, and that defense is going to keep giving him the ball back too. Tom Brady, I was questioning how he would fit in a Bruce Arians offense just because there's so many deep shots down the field. And, people were ragging on Tom Brady all year last year, too, because when he would try to throw the ball deep down the field, it usually wasn't pretty. It feels like they kind of adjusted more towards Brady's strengths, and that benefited them greatly. And even guys like Godwin were kind of banged up a lot of the year, too. So, if everybody's back and healthy, they just got an embarrassment of riches at receiver for Tom Brady to throw the ball to. So, I expect another great season from Tom Brady.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think we've seen the best edition of what this offense can be yet.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is really scary. And I think here's what's going to happen again next year is ESPN, Sports Center, like week 6, week 7, they're going to tell us all about how the 4-3, Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers are washed up. Yeah. And then that's just going to motivate this guy. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him in another Super Bowl. Yeah. And honestly, once that team got going and clicking, dude, he was right where he was supposed to be, which was one of the best quarterbacks in fantasy and in real life.
Yeah, so from a fantasy perspective, I had kind of been staying away for Tom Brady the last few years just because I thought, he's getting up there in age and just the arm wasn't looking the same. But I got to tell you, I'm more excited this year about Tom Brady than I have been in a long time.
Yeah.
This offense is just filled with weapons. They all got hot in the playoffs. Chris Godwin, I think they're going to have a lot of chemistry. Mike Evans is going to keep building upon what he was doing last year. Mm-hmm. Gronk, even O.J. Howard getting healthy. I saw a stat today just talking about the first 4 weeks when Gronk and O.J. Howard were on the field together. And honestly, O.J. Howard was getting more targets than Gronk was.
Yeah,
so,
Gronk was basically a blocking tight end at the beginning of the season.
And then I think it was cool to see Gronk come alive late, especially in the Super Bowl. But, I look at O.J. Howard as just another weapon that's getting healthy. And, Tom Brady and I almost feel like just out of spite, they're just going to start throwing the ball 40 times a game, just letting Tom Brady go off this year. Just like... just showing everybody what he's made of and what he's got. But I don't know. I'm excited.
Yeah, very excited. We'll go to running backs. Who's even on the roster right now?
So as we mentioned, Leonard Fournette right now is not. We're doing this right in the heat of all the free agency, so there's a chance he's back on a 1-year deal or something like that. But right now it's Ronald Jones, it's Keyshawn Vaughn. There's talk about James White coming in. I'd assume Fournette's gone in that scenario. But we'll talk about Ronald Jones because he's like kind of the guy. We know he's going to be there. We're not sure who his competition will be, but how we feel about Ronald Jones right now?
If Fournette's gone, I love him again this year. I think he'll be another bargain. I would expect him to continuously slip. Last year, I think quite a few. He was like right around running back 31, 32, 33 off the draft board.
Yeah.
Somewhere 7th, 6th, 8th round. I think he'll fall right in that category again.
I think he'll be excellent this season. You saw, again, flashes of it last year. He can make the big plays. He's getting a little better in the receiving game. I think without Fournette taken away from him, he's going to have a huge season. I really, really, really like him this year. And I also really like the opportunity of James White possibly coming. Jonathan, he's been talking about that for who knows how long.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
It would just be the perfect fit. It's like a no-brainer fit. It just makes so much sense. It would be great if they pulled it off. And then in that scenario, too, not to get off topic here, but James White would I mean, all those top 20 seasons he had, basically just catching the ball out of the backfield from Tom Brady. I mean, I think we'd probably see another one.
Yeah, do you want to talk about a value in a dynasty draft? We just did the review. He was the very last running back selected in that draft.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would change if he went to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, and I'll say this too. Like, obviously, I'd be a little concerned if he goes looking at Ronald Jones. I still think Ronald Jones will get the
Sure.
goal line work though too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be a team. We expect there to be so many opportunities inside the 20.
Yeah.
So
Right. It would just be the perfect fit with Ronald Jones too, because I think that's the one area where he's really struggled besides like pass blocking is catching the ball.
Right.
And you've seen Bruce Arians get frustrated with him, so James White would be able to just slide right in and take that role. So that would be perfect.
Yeah, one other guy we don't want you guys to forget about, and that's Keyshawn Vaughn. I mean, as a rookie, did not get many opportunities. How much of that was, on him versus just the fact that it was a weird offseason and then, the coaching staff just kind of sheltering him a little bit since it was his first year. But, I mean, this is a guy who was a third-round pick in, the NFL draft last year. He's got some talent. We saw him going in late first round of dynasty drafts, which we did not approve of. We did not like that.
Oh, yeah.
But now he's getting dropped, and I like the value in being able to pick up Keyshawn Vaughn for free right now. It's tough because I do think Ronald Jones definitely going to get the first crack. Then you bring in a guy like a James White. We know he's the clear pass catcher. So it doesn't look like there's room for Keyshawn Vaughn, but you never know. Ronald Jones is going to be in the last year of his deal, so they might look and see what they got with the rookie and give him some real opportunity this year.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
just
and
keep an
actually,
eye on him. Yeah.
hearing you speak, I mean, it sounds like a really good dynasty trade target.
Yeah.
To go get, as you pointed out, Ronald Jones in his final year. If James White comes in, I mean, that's another 1-2 year player.
Right.
So I mean, for me, there's a lot of value there for a guy that was getting picked in the first round. Maybe not next year, but the following year. I mean, he may be someone, and I feel like he's somebody who could probably. I picked him off waivers in a league that we're in, so I feel like even if he is rostered, you could probably just get him as a toss in.
Exactly,
on a
and you kind of took the words out of my mouth, especially in these master leagues. Where all of our trades here at Masters have to be even. So if I want a first round from JK, a first rounder from him, he's got to give me a player too. If Keyshawn Vaughn's sitting on that guy's bench, use him as the throw and just see if you can get him for free. Pick up Keyshawn Vaughn in a second for a guy you're just trying to get a second for.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I like it too.
So we're ready to dive into this receiving room?
Yeah.
All right,
Let's do it.
Who we want to start with first?
Let's start with my guy, Mike Evans.
All right, then we'll go to my guy.
Yeah, so Mike Evans actually was a little more consistent than I would have expected last year, and I feel like a lot of that had to do with Godwin being banged up. But at the very least, he was a threat in the red zone. Brady looked to him when they were deep pretty consistently too. He had no hesitation to just throw it up to him and let Mike Evans do what he does best. In terms of, I don't know. I don't really know if he'll. I would expect him to kind of drop off just a touch from last season.
Yeah.
I think Godwin's really going to explode in that offense. But again, too, if Antonio Brown's gone, maybe Evans picks up some of that slack there too. But again, kind of similar to our Browns episode, there's a lot of mouths to feed there. Brady loves Scotty Miller too, who I'm sure we'll touch on. And then again, 3 tight ends worth throwing the ball to. So I can see Evans dipping a little bit, but he'll still be a guy that could probably get you a touchdown or at least, double-digit points each week.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're going to see a lot of the same from Mike Evans, but maybe not quite as good of a year as last year. I know from a fantasy perspective, it was crazy how many touchdowns inside the 5-yard line he had, which it was easy to kind of knock on him for that. Be like, without those 2-yard touchdown passes, he wouldn't have the fantasy numbers. But the truth is, Tom Brady trusted him every time they got inside the 10 for a reason. It's because he's darn good at it. So I don't think that's going to necessarily change. But maybe a slight dip in the numbers if the touchdowns come down a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like I could throw a touchdown on Mike Evans.
It wouldn't be too tough. Yeah,
So him or Gronk. That's where I'm going.
Yeah, just toss it up to him for sure.
Yeah,
and it kind of like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. I do think they hurt each other. They're both so good.
Yeah.
Then add, like you said, Scotty Miller, maybe Antonio Brown. All them tight ends, so many mouths to feed there.
Right, definitely. And then in this scenario, James White shows up. I mean, he's going to eat a lot of targets too.
Mm-hmm.
I do feel good about all of, at least those two, their dynasty outlook, even post Tom Brady, though.
Yeah. And even with Mike Evans too. I mean,
bring back Jameis.
Yeah, there you go. With Evans too. I mean, I'm not sure how much he has left on his contract, but I mean, whether it's post Tom Brady in Tampa Bay or if he goes somewhere else, I mean, it's a guy that I still would hold on to in dynasty leagues just because he is such a great talent. I feel like he's another underrated receiver. I feel like people don't give him the credit he deserves.
Completely agree with that. Yeah.
Me too.
All right, so now we'll kick over to Chris Godwin, who I personally love. I think he's kind of, I don't want to say the alpha of the receiver room because Mike Evans does just have that, very physical frame and, can just kind of take over a game himself. But I really see Godwin as the true number one, especially with Brady, just a guy he can find, often, just quick, short routes, just really all over the field. Love the separation he gets underneath, and I just think it kind of fits into perfectly what Brady's always liked. And,
Right.
And yeah, last year, as the doc mentioned, he had got a concussion week 1, was playing with a banged up hamstring from like week 3 on.
Yeah.
Then he had, 2 of his fingers taped together for
Yeah.
half the year. And, that's got to limit a receiver some. So I just think going into year 2 with Tom Brady, getting fully healthy, playing on the franchise tag, a little extra motivation. I think Chris Godwin's going to have a great year. I'm excited. I think he's going to be closer to the 2019 Chris Godwin than he was the 2020 Chris Godwin.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Though I think Mike Evans is a better receiver, I think Godwin is like Alex said, the number one guy in Tampa Bay. Just his style meshes so perfectly with Tom Brady. And yeah, I think if he's able to stay on the field for 16 games, I think this season will rival what he did in 2019, which might seem kind of crazy, but I think it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, and if that does happen, I mean, here's another guy that's a great value right now. I think if you go back 2 years ago after that season, he was ranked at like number 4 at wide receiver.
Yeah.
And he dropped quite a bit after last season. And if he can return to that form, I mean, I'm seeing him in trades now. Hopefully I can find a Chris Godwin trade to bring you guys next week.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing him, like if someone's offering a first for him, I mean, guys are jumping on it.
Yeah.
Which, 2 years ago, the 1.5 wasn't going to bring you Godwin.
Yeah, no way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not even a chance. And now, it could, for
could,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, so as mentioned, at this time, Antonio Brown's currently not on the roster. Sounds like they're, looking at options to bring him back. But we'll talk about some of the other guys they got. Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson.
Yeah.
2 of the guys deeper on the roster. We saw Scotty Miller with a big playoff touchdown.
Yeah.
That truthfully helped them get to the Super Bowl in a big way right before the half. That was a pivotal play in their
Big
Super
one.
Bowl journey.
Sure was.
So kind of like that Ray Allen 3-pointer. People forget about it, but
Yeah.
Scotty Miller kind of came through in the clutch and made a huge play. So
Definitely.
we think Scotty Miller's worth a deep stash on our Masters teams.
I don't even think it's worth. I think he's worth even
Just
more
like
so.
yeah.
Stash him. He definitely had that chemistry with Brady. We saw that, especially if Antonio Brown doesn't come back. If he does, then yeah, maybe more deep stash. But I think it's going to be a lot more consistent for him if he's in the slot every single time versus spelling Antonio Brown or whoever it may be. I mean, he's going to produce. Brady liked him, and he can make big plays. I mean, he's got a really nice skill set. I like Scotty Miller a lot. He can do a lot of things for you. So, and not to get the cart ahead of the horse there, but Tyler Johnson was one of my deep rookie sleepers from all the way back in draft season. And I think he'll kind of see a nice bump in production too. Not really sure if it's worth a roster spot yet, but maybe someone to keep an eye on there.
Yeah, and to Antonio Brown, because, I mean, with all those weapons, I can't see any reason to bring him back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Do you
honestly, I'm kind of leaning towards I feel like they're not going to. I think they're exploring it, but
I think if they do, it's going to be just because Brady wants him.
right.
That'd be it.
They don't need him.
Yeah.
I mean, is there another team now that you guys would think would take a chance on Antonio Brown? I mean, he was quiet there last year.
It's hard to say. Yeah, I mean, personality-wise, he was fine last year.
Yeah.
Did he show enough to even make it worth it?
that's what I'm kind of curious on.
So, yeah, honestly, he was kind of, quiet on and off the field once he got there. Kind of what I think might be an interesting fit for him and almost cement his, Hall of Fame type career. What if he went to the Green Bay Packers and then helped them get to the Super Bowl? Could that be, something that kind of put, assuming he has, a really solid year as their number 2, could that, really cement the gold jacket for Antonio Brown as just
I
a next
think that's
level?
what he needs,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And honestly, if it comes over my phone right now that he signed with Green Bay, stock up. for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
That's
Yeah.
where it's kind of, I think part of it was there was so many mouths to feed. I don't, from my perspective, I'm not sure if he's still the same guy.
Yeah.
We didn't really have to see him do old AB stuff,
Right. All right.
So I don't really
yeah.
even know what all he still has left in the tank. He could still be able to carry a team. I don't know.
So what's crazy, because you mentioned it, and I completely agree. Because they had so many weapons, like we almost didn't even get to see how much does he still have. I just saw a stat today, and I can't remember what it was exactly, but it was something like since 2018, the receiver with the most, I think, catches of, I don't know if it was catches of 20 plus yards or something about deep receiving stats, and he was number 1, and he missed a ton of time during that, and was he basically missed a year and a half of time during that span, and was still number 1 over guys like Tyreek Hill, Allen Robinson. Wow. I forget what it truly was, but some sort of deep receiving stat.
Interesting.
So I feel like last year he had to have something to push himself back in the top there. So
yeah, and I feel like he's probably still like top 5 in most receiver stats over like the last 5-10 years. Like
he
one of the
put up
most
such crazy numbers.
Yeah, I mean, as a Browns fan, I mean, we see him just destroying us, drop kicking our punters. I mean, just an amazing talent. I would love, and I get it, the off the field issues. I believe in second chances personally.
Absolutely.
I'd love to see him link up somewhere where he could be a number 2 like the Devontae Adams. See what he has left in the tank. Give him a shot to wear that jacket because he was definitely on his way to camp.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and I think statistically speaking, I think
there is the political stuff,
right.
like T.O. We've seen it happen to him.
I was gonna say I could see like there'd be a little, but that's a show for different.
We're not getting into all that.
So to the tight end room, we got Rob Gronkowski, O.J. Howard, and Cameron Breit. How are we feeling about these guys? It's an interesting room because I think they all kind of bring something different to the table. Obviously, Gronk is the big name. He's the guy who showed up in the Super Bowl. But I think O.J. Howard has some sneaky value.
Yeah, to me, I think O.J. Howard's got the most value of the 3.
Especially in Dynasty.
Right. Even though Gronk has that connection with Brady, when O.J. Howard was on the field, we didn't really see it. And I'm kind of curious if it kind of reverts back to that now that O.J. Howard's back, just to kind of lighten the load for Gronk. And we still didn't even really see Gronk do a ton until like that. I mean, like the Super Bowl, he had a great game. But, besides that, he never really had to do too much. So to me, I think I like O.J. Howard the best of the group. Even in redraft too, really. But
I love hearing that. I got some OJ.
Yeah, but at the same time too, I don't really see any of them having huge value. Just because again, there's 3 of them. They all they all have good pass receiving skill sets. It's not like there's 2 blocking tight ends and then there's O.J. Howard. Like all 3 of them can catch the ball. So I think that's going to eat into whoever the top tight end's value is, whether that be Howard or Gronk. And then as we've said, so many mouths to feed. So.
I agree. I think it's going to be like Russian roulette, trying to start them.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? I was shocked how much Gronk got paid, though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like
did you
11,
see
12,
I heard something that the
$15
Bills sent him an
Bills,
offer.
yeah.
They tried to sneak him out.
I would have really liked that.
That would have been cool.
Yeah, because I agree. And, last year I was big on Gronk. I think I even said it in a couple shows ago where I like Gronk. But I kind of have to lean with you this year. I do think it would be O.J. Howard. Just younger, more explosive. Tom did look at him for those first few weeks.
Yeah.
So I'd be concerned as a Gronk owner or any of those guys. But I do think with the tight ends the way they are, you're probably going to end up having to start a couple of those guys.
Yeah.
So I just kind of thought of it's not really a bold prediction, but it
Okay.
kind of ties in because we're talking about Tampa tight ends and it's a dynasty show. So right now we're seeing the current free agency and guys like Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith are getting top 3 tight end money. Mark my words. I don't even think he's gonna have that great of a year this year. But next offseason, right at this time, O.J. Howard will become the 3rd highest paid tight end. Mainly because the market just kind of resets itself every year and everybody gets overpaid. But I mean, I would argue O.J. Howard is better than Jonnu Smith, and
Yeah.
I like both those guys.
If Jonnu got paid on that sample size too, I mean, O.J. Howard would probably get paid.
Yeah. So, and more than anything, I'm saying that just as go get O.J. Howard now for like a 3rd round. I mean, he's even a free agent in some leagues. Get him in your rookie draft with the 3rd round pick you've got. But even if he doesn't do much this year, I think he's going to sign next offseason in a place where to really kind of, shoot his dynasty stock back on the right course because he was a legit 1st round tight end prospect coming out of college.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a good take. And even in that small sample size with Tom Brady at the beginning of the season, I seen him in trade starting to,
Yeah.
rise up a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
at the very least, you've got the guy who's probably the favorite to finish as the number 1 tight end on that team. And then, from then, who knows? Things, maybe he stays in Tampa Bay, Gronk retires, or maybe he goes somewhere
Gronk's
else.
not going to play forever. So
last question. Does Tampa Bay repeat?
I'm going to say no. But
I think they'll get there. But
Mahomes takes them out this year.
Baker Mayfield takes him out. Yeah! Go Browns, baby! Good night!
that's the show, guys.
That's the show,
Wrap
guys.
it.
Appreciate it. Have a good one. Till next time. That's it.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah!